2 Godzilla films left in this Toho-produced Godzilla franchise film challenge we've taken at the beginning of the month. We're nearing the end here, and the 31st in the Toho-produced Godzilla films is the second in this anime trilogy, and it is called Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle. Yes, after suffering a crushing, horrible defeat at the hands of now Godzilla Earth. Yes, there's even a bigger Godzilla they didn't expect. Well, our hero Haruo Sakaki ends up coming across an aboriginal tribe which has descended over the last 20,000 years from the humans that used to live on planet Earth, though there's something of little extra unique about them. Well, him and the ragtag group of people left who survived their initial attack in the first film now are trying to figure out how they can survive and maybe still take out this big, huge Godzilla, but that seems almost impossible. But soon, our Aboriginal folks show them where there is a metal city. Yes, and this metal city is made up of nanometal. The nanometal that was used for them to construct Mechagodzilla, but they could never activate Mechagodzilla in time before the humans and their alien allies left the planet. Well, the Bilu Saludo aliens, that's a mouthful, were the ones in charge of Mechagodzilla. So they are in this group, a number of them, and so they reactivate Mechagodzilla, and suddenly there's light and hope again in their hearts that they can take out the even bigger Godzilla and finally get Earth back for humanity. But as things move along, we find out that these aliens have their own agenda, which doesn't exactly mesh with everyone, and we see how that conflict ends up possibly hindering their potential of finally defeating this super gigantic Godzilla. This is still a very interesting story. I liked where it was going. I mean, the Aboriginal tribe they find, I thought were really cool. You know, cool descendants, especially when they describe what their origin actually was. And then I got a little excited because they talk about the egg and worshiping the egg, and there were twins, and they've got this cave where there's dialogue on it and a drawing, and yes, we have folks here who talk about Mothra, and it got me so excited. I was hoping we would see Mothra, but we don't, but they talk about their god and the egg and such, and you know where they're going for with this. So they've taken a little bit of a different approach to a classic monster. Not only that, they took a different approach with the Mechagodzilla. No, this is not the Mechagodzilla we have seen in the past at all. No, Mechagodzilla actually is in the form of this huge nanometal city that once activated can start forming and creating anything and everything. So they start creating weapons and stuff. But that's when we find out these aliens have their own agenda with this Mechagodzilla city. And we see new weapons come out in the form of these mech suits called vultures, which are awesome. I loved how they used them to try to distract the Godzilla Earth into their plan. They follow a similar plan from the first one that is definitely going to work this time. So they think. And so we see how all of that comes together, all the drama, how Haruo and his fellow soldier, how she starts to get drawn towards him, how Haruo has a strange attraction to the twins, and we still have a lot of that stuff going on in here that we've seen in past Mechagodzilla movies. Namely, we have the conflict between technology and metal and flesh and nature. So you still have that theme going on in here. It's different. It's got a different spin, but at its core, at its spirit, you still have that same theme that we've had in all of our other Mechagodzilla films. And so I really like that. I liked that spirit. I liked the idea. It wasn't too strange that Mechagodzilla was actually this city, because if you watch a lot of anime, it's not the most unusual take they've done on referencing a monster when it's in some kind of other form. So you know, that didn't surprise me. I liked the design of the city. I liked the idea of it being able to create all these different things, and it was smart metal and all of this, as well as the philosophy of these aliens, the Bilu Saludo, and if I mispronounce it, I'm sorry, but and their philosophy towards you know, people and technology and how those should be as one. And I loved that philosophy in here and how it was different than the other aliens who are all about religion. So got two conflicting philosophies there, humans stuck in the middle, and I really enjoyed how that theme carried out through here, and we explored that. Now I was hoping for a big, huge Mecha Godzilla to fight big, huge Godzilla Earth, but unfortunately we don't get that. Namely because Toho wanted to take a different direction. First off, they hire a director who's not really a Godzilla fan, and it wasn't his call to not have a super mech Godzilla fight super huge Godzilla Earth. It was actually Toho's, because they were trying to pull in a new audience with this trilogy of anime films. Therefore, they're taking in a different approach and not making them, it sounds odd, feel too much like your normal monster film, but more of a drama and pulling at some other emotions and giving it what they felt needed more depth to this type of story. Now, whether or not that works for you or not, I don't know. This one, it still worked for me, but I will say it's starting to show some cracks because it feels like it's getting really stretched out now, this story is. It feels like there's some padding in there, some pacing issues as well. You know, it's just getting a little bit stretchy, and yeah, there's not quite as much action in here, though when they do finally enact their plan against Godzilla Earth, loved that whole action sequence altogether. Very exhilarating, very visually stunning with this animation that they had, but the story wasn't quite as solid as when we first started out the series. The question is, does it finish strong, or does it get even weaker in part 3? Well, you'll have to stay tuned to find out. As far as this one, hey, you watched the first one, so I would recommend you watch this one because there are still a lot of great things to enjoy in here for this film, especially if you're a fan of the Mecha Godzilla stories in the Godzilla franchise. So there you have it, folks. Please, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this interesting film, this middle film for this trilogy. Did you like it? Did you not? Would you have rather liked to see a huge super mecha Godzilla fight super huge Godzilla Earth? I'd love to hear your constructive thoughts on it. Please check out our Patreon as well. I thank you for your support, and until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.